ipakita natin sa buong mundo na ang Pilipino may kakayanan na magpahusay ng kabuhayan Pilipino.
That we call on all patriotic Filipinos to discard ideological differences, party affiliations, disparity of religious beliefs and regional origin, to close our ranks, stand behind one flag, commit our honor, dedicate our lives to fight as best we can in defense of our country.
Ang ating katipunan. Ang ating katipunan. Ang palatuntunang maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon tungkol sa mga kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Ang ating katipunan.
Magbibigay liwanag sa mga katanungang nagdudulot ng pagkalito sa mga mamamayan hango sa aral ng pandaigdigang kasaysayan.
Ang ating katipunan.
Makikinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-kuro sa pagsusuri ng mga kasalukuyang suliranin ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo.
Ang ating katipunan.
Maglalatag ng kalutasan ng mga sanhi ng paghihirap ng kalagayan at kabuhayan ng sambayanan.
Ang ating katipunan.
Ihahatid sa inyo ni Itos Valdes ng Philippine LaRouche Society, Save the Nation Movement, Solidarity for Sovereignty Movement, Renaissance Philippines, at Partido Politikal ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, kasama si Cathy Cruz.
Ang oras sa hudyat, 3 minuto makalipas ang ikapito ng gabi. Philippine Standard Time, araw po ng linggo, July 9, 2023. Ang himpilang ito ay kasapi ng KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. Magandang gabi mga katipon sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. Ito po ang inyong katipon, Cathy Cruz, kasama pa rin ang Pangulo ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, Itos Valdes. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Itos.
Hi, magandang gabi, Cathy, and lahat sa nagsusubaybay at tagapakinig sa atin in our simulcast on radio, DZXL, RMN, and then lahat ng nanonood dito sa Facebook. Good evening po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Itos. At syempre, katulad po ng layunin ng palatuntunang ito, ilalantad ang tunay na kaganapan sa ating bansa, maging sa buong mundo. Ang madalas na suliranin nating lahat ay kung paano at kailan bubuti ang buhay natin. Dito sa ating katipunan, ipapaliwanag sa inyo kung ano ang ugat o pinagmulan at layunin kung sino at bakit nasisira ang maraming bansa. Hindi lamang ang Pilipinas at ang pagbagsak ng kalidad ng pamumuhay ng mga tao batay sa kasaysayan na magpahanggang sa ngayon ay nagaganap pa rin. Sa paglalatag ng kasaysayan ng buong mundo, mapagtatanto o matutukoy na natin ang suliranin. May solusyon ba tayo? Meron. At yan ang maririnig nyo dito sa ating katipunan. At kaya manatili po kayong makinig sa RMN DZXL 558 kHz AM band at manood po kayo sa mga social media accounts ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, Partido KDP o Katipunan Channel. Mag-text po kayo sa Katipunan text line 0916-363-7626 o magpadala ng sulat troniko katipunanchannel@gmail.com. Maaari din po kayo mag-iwan ng comments sa social media accounts ng Partido KDP FB page at YouTube. At syempre, ngayong araw na ito ay pag-uusapan po natin ang independence. Kamakailan ay pinagdiwang ng bansang Amerika ang Araw ng Kalayaan. July 4, 1776 nang nagkaisang pinagtibay ang Deklarasyon ng Kalayaan ng ikalawang kontinental na kongreso ng paghihiwalay ng kolonya sa Great Britain. Samantala dito sa ating bansa, sa Pilipinas, dating July 4, 1946, subalit inilipat ng June 12 ayon sa proklamasyon ni dating Pangulong Diosdado Macapagal. Ano nga ba ang kahalagahan ng kalayaan sa isang mamamayan sa kahit anong bansa? Ano ba ang kaakibat na tungkulin ng mamamayan bilang isang tao? Manatili kayong tumunghay at makinig dahil ipapaliwanag sa atin ang mga katanungan yan ni Itos Valdes ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino. Well, katatapos ng July 4, di ba, Itos, yung Independence Day ng Amerika. Pwede bang pakipaliwanag mo sa amin ang kahalagahan ng Independence Day ng bansang Amerika at ng Pilipinas?
Yeah, so nag-uusap kami ni Cathy kung ano yung topic natin this weekend. And we decided, since kaka-celebrate lang ng Amerika ng July 4, it is their Independence Day. And then recently, before that, June 12 tayo. Pero not long ago, before we were declared independent, given our independence by the United States in 1946, gusto nila yung celebration ng Independence Day is the same as theirs. So July 4 rin. Bakit kaya? Kasi gusto nila. Bakit hindi ba irony po yan or parang hindi nagtutugma? Nabibigyan tayo ng independence pero ang suggestion nila, July 4 pa rin. Okay? Now, sa unang iisipin nila kasi talaga itong mga Amerikano, napaka-swapang. Gusto nila sa kanila pa rin tayo pero bibigyan tayo ng independence. And so, mapapaisip ka, and marami nagsasabi since 1946, hindi naman tayo talagang independent at nakasalalay pa rin tayo sa ating mga kaibigan sa Amerika. Lahat ng businesses natin, number 1 trade partner and all. Tapos, for our security, for our military and around our country, bakit at that time, meron pa silang US bases dito, di ba? So bakit meron pa silang maintain na base and presence in the region kahit quote-unquote independent po tayo? Now, also recently, itong mga issue around the South China Seas or West Philippine Sea natin na may mga presence ng vessels ng China. And hindi na parating tila nakikialam ang Amerika sa mga issue natin around our region, around our borders. Bakit yung iba sinasabi na parang kailangan natin ng Amerika kasi baka sakupin tayo ng China kung wala yung Amerika dyan. So parang nakadikit pa rin tayo dito sa Amerika. Kung yung Espanya 300 years parang bumitaw na tayo sa Espanya, wala na tayong talagang, except maybe some trade links. But in terms of political influence, in terms of regional security influence, in terms of economic influence, the United States is much, much more involved in our country's affairs than any other nation. Why is that? And what does it mean that we are independent? So looking back, kita mo, sa kanila rin po, July 4 yung kanilang independence. And I wanted to, ang gusto ko sana, i-review po natin, number 1. When you say, what is the significance of an Independence Day? What are we independent from what? Independent meaning hindi tayo kaya natin mabuhay mag-isa. Hindi tayo nakadepende sa iba. Di ba ho? So, ano ba talaga ang bisa ng Independence Day kung hindi naman tayo makakabuhay o sarili, independent of all other nations, especially in our case, the United States. And what links both of our nations? So I propose, ang proposal ko ho, i-review po natin yung tinatawag na birth of each of our nations. Now, in the case of the United States, i-review po natin yung Philippine Independence Day, ano ba talagang independence para sa Pilipino, at i-review po natin yung sa United States. Ano bang sinasabi ng independence? Sino bang nakalaban na? So, may short history lesson po tayo kung paano, kung kailan, bakit July 4 ang Independence Day ng United States at tapos naging June 12 yung atin. And what is the significance today? Kasi parang dumadating lang every year. Ang alam lang ng kabataan ngayon, pag June 12, walang pasok. Di ba? Non-working holiday. What does it mean? Tapos, pag government official ka or presidente ka, may mga seremonyas, flag raising, gano'n. Pero hanggang doon lang. Parang mas ginugunita o celebrate yung ibang mga occasions dito sa Pilipinas rather than our Independence Day. Pero yung sinasabi ko po, yung Independence Day po natin ang siyang pinaka-importanteng celebration sa buong bansa. That is what that day that we commemorate, which is June 12, is the day we declared that we are a sovereign nation. It means that our people, our ancestors, declared that we will not be subservient to kings and queens, that we are a government of, by, and for the people, and therefore can govern ourselves. That is significant kasi tinaya mo buhay mo sa ganyan. Lahat ng kabuuan ng pamilya mo, pagkatao mo, at yung puso mo, binigay mo sa pagka-independent ng inyong bansa. So that is the most important. That's why we are living the way we are living now, because of people, yung ating mga ninuno, nagbigay ng buhay. And pag sinabi ko mga ninuno po natin, hindi ko sinasabi yung mga taga-Katipunan. Ang sinasabi ko, yung mga ninuno natin who gave their lives for the same idea, whether it's after the Katipunan or before yung Katipunan. Because they gave their lives to the idea that the Philippines and the Filipinos are supposed to be free and sovereign. Okay? Going back to the United States, July 4, 1776 is the day that nilagda po ang Declaration of Independence. Now, ang full title po nan, yung unang draft, is really the Declaration of Independence of Mankind. Meaning, hindi lang para sa Amerikano. Okay? So, if you will allow, just a few, the idea, ang sumasakop kasi sa Amerikano, yung Britanya. Okay? Colony sila ng Britain sa umpisa. Okay? So they are the colonies na sinakop ng Britain a century before. Okay? Kaya po yung mga states, lalo na yung East Coast states, yung mga New York, mga Pennsylvania, mga Virginia, they are all named after cities in Britain. Kaya nga New York kasi may York doon sa Britain. Ito New York. So kinonquer sila at yung pangalan na natili. Okay? So when they declared, yung nag-declare sila ng all men are created equal, that are which has the inalienable right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Yun pong statement na yon against na sa lahat ng empire and royal and colonial forms of government. Ibig sabihin, nire-reject po nila ang klase ng gobyerno na may hari at reyna at kings and queens at lahat subject ng kings and queens. Against empire sila. Okay? Against imperial, against monarchy. Monarchy is ruled by one family. Okay? Monarch, you're a king, you're a queen. Ikaw yung sovereign. Lahat ng sinabi mo batas. Ang Declaration ng Independence galing sa United States, ang sinasabi nila, hindi kami sumasang-ayon sa ganun na pag-iisip. Ang tao, lahat ng tao nilikha ng Diyos maging free, malaya at pareho. Cathy, what is equal? Malaya at
Pantay.
Pantay ang lahat ng tao at may karapatan sila na iboto ang kanilang mga ninuno. Hindi sila magiging alipin ng isang pamilya, ng isang monarkiya. Ang declaration na yon ay declaration of war against Great Britain na siyang sumakop sa kanila. Now, sino-sino ang nag-declare nito? Mga masa ba? Mga farmer, mga fishermen? Hindi po. Ito yung mga may kaya. Ito yung mga may lupa. Ito yung mga profesor. Ito yung mga politiko. Lahat sila nagsama-sama. Nagsulat sila ng Declaration of Independence at sabi nila, ito ang ilalagda natin, magsisignature tayo dito at ipapadala natin dito sa Britanya. At sinasasabihin na namin, ayaw na natin, independent na kami sa inyo. Kapare-pareho lang ang ginawa ni Emilio Aguinaldo. 'Di ba? Pinunit nila yung sedula bilang simbolo ng pag-aari ng Espanya sa atin. Okay? Tapos, alam nila na magkakagera at nagkagera nga. So they drafted, sabi nila, independent na kami, so kami na yung Kongreso ng United States, hanap tayo ng isang general na siyang magli-lead ng ating army, yung ating armed forces against the British. Okay? Hindi to maliit na bagay kasi at that time, ang Britanya po, ang Britain, was the #1 superpower in the world. Okay? So sabi nila, kakalabanin natin itong mga to. Ano bang armas natin? Saan tayo kukuha ng armas? Siguro, at that time kasi, nagkakagera rin ng Britain, kaaway rin nila yung Frances. So sabi ng Frances, sige, tulungan namin kayo, bibigyan namin kayo ng konting armas at konting pero para matalo nyo yung Britain. So after 8 years, 8 years yata yung war, natalo nila by the miracle of, and their leader and first president ng United States, si George Washington. Kaya yung capital nila po ay Washington, D.C. Okay? Named after their first general who led the Continental Army against the British and won. Now, hindi na ako masyadong mag-ano about the details of how they won the war. Point is, they won. In 1776, they declared independence. 1784 yata, they won the war. Tapos 1789, constitution po nila. Naglagda na sila ng constitution. Okay? So, this is the independence. But what were they getting out of? Tapos, sa constitution nila, nilagay nila ang Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. When you say the Pledge of Allegiance, what are you pledging to? As an American, pag sinabi Amerikano ko, ano bang description ng Amerikano? Pag sinabi kong Amerikano ka ba? Sabihin lang, oh, kasi puti ako, tapos magaling ako mag-English, may slang ako, tapos di ba? Galing ako, may US passport ako, kahit saan sa mundo, pwede ako pumunta. Di ba? That's what makes you American. No. Kasi yung ibang tao dyan, pwede naman mag-English, magaling naman mag-ano. So hindi ibig sabihin Amerikano sila, di ba? So, being an American is much, much more than what people think it is. It is. I would post forward. I would submit that being an American is when you subscribe to the ideals and principles of that nation. So wala sa itsura mo, wala sa kung saan ka na panganak, not race, creed, or color. If you subscribe to that nation, then that's what makes you an American. Ano ba yung prinsipyo ng Amerika? Now, ito nga yung Pledge of Allegiance na kailangan i-recite nyo kung gusto nyo maging citizen ng Amerika. Kailangan i-memorize ito. And sasabihin natin to para maalam nyo. I pledge the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Simple. So what are you pledging allegiance to as an American? Tao ba? Hindi. What are you pledging allegiance to? Lupa? Di ba? Are you pledging allegiance? Ito yung lupa ko dito lang ako. Di ba ho? You're pledging allegiance to the republic which is represented by the flag of the United States of America because it represents the ideas as put forward in their Declaration of Independence and their Constitution. When it says one nation under God, it acknowledges that all men are created. Correct? Indivisible. Ibig sabihin, hindi nyo pwedeng paghati-hatian kami. One united kami lang. With liberty and justice for all. For all. Wala silang pinipili. Now, if you subscribe to this, then in spirit, you're already American. Ngayon, I don't know kung we have a copy of our Panatang Makabayan. Meron ba tayo, Ver?
Meron
Panatang
tayo.
Makabayan. Now, hindi ko alam kung alam ni Cathy yung i-recite yung Panatang Makabayan kasi may bagong version. Pero yung lumang version, maganda rin, di ba?
Yes.
Panatang Makabayan natin, yung original version, maganda na . Hindi ko alam ba't pinapalitan pa nila . Di ba? But our Panatang Makabayan, iniibig ko ang Pilipinas. Ito ang aking lupang sinilangan. Ito ang tahanan ng aking lahi. Ako ang kanyang kinukupkop at tinutulungan upang maging malakas, maligaya, at kapaki-pakinabang. Bilang ganti, diringgin ko ang payo ng aking mga magulang. Susundin ko ang mga tuntunin ng ating paralan. Tutuparin ko ang mga tungkulin ng isang mamamayang makabayan at masunurin sa batas. Paglilingkuran ko ang aking bayan na walang pag-iimbot at buong katapatan. Sisikapin ko maging isang tunay na Pilipino sa isip, salita, at sa gawa. Now, what are you pledging allegiance to? You are pledging allegiance to these ideals in a country. Medyo mas mahaba, mas simple yung sa US, mas general yung kanilang not too specific. Tayo, medyo specific pa. Susundin, diringin ko ang payo ng aking mga magulang, di ba? May ganun pa siya. But it shows we are God-fearing. Okay? Although hindi nakasabi dito at pero we are God-fearing and we respect our elders. Okay? So, these are the principles and these are the characteristics of what makes you a Filipino. Hindi po, ang pagka-Pilipino po, hindi dahil marunong ka mag-Tagalog o mag-Bisaya o dahil napanganak ka dito sa bansa. Pag Pilipino ka, ibig sabihin, sumasang-ayon ka sa our Pledge of Allegiance, Panatang Makabayan. Kung di ka sumasang-ayon sa ganon, hindi ka Pilipino. Kahit may pasaporte ka ng Pilipino. Pilipinas, di ba? Dahil ang pagka identity mo, American, Filipino, you subscribe to an ideal and principle. That is the most important. Hindi dahil sa itsura mo, hindi dahil napanganak ka dito, hindi dahil yung magulang mo Pilipino, dahil Pilipino ka rin. Dahil gusto mo manood ng Itbulaga, Pilipino ka na. 'Di ba? Hindi dahil ganyan. Okay. Pilipino ka dahil sumasang-ayon ka sa mga prinsipyo na nakasaad sa ating Panatang Makabayan. Kung hindi ka sumasang-ayon doon, hindi ka Pilipino sa isip, salita at siguro. Now, it is an ideal, it is a principle in the minds and hearts of citizens. If you say you're a citizen of the Philippines, you say you're a citizen of the United States, then you subscribe to those ideals. Correct? So when we say independence now, what do you mean by independence? From what? Now, let me propose another thing. Look, meron tayong US Pledge of Allegiance. So alam na natin you're pledging allegiance to the flag and the republic and the ideals of a republic. Na-recite na po natin yung Panatang Makabayan sa Pilipinas. Ngayon, tignan natin yung oath of allegiance of Canada. Meron ka ba niyan, Ver? If you can bring it up, or else I will read it. Ayan. Oath of citizenship on Canada. I swear or affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, the second Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Canada and fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen. Anong diferensya? Anong diferensya ng Oath of Allegiance ng US and the Philippines and ng Oath of Allegiance, Oath of Citizenship ng Canada? Ang diferensya is you are swearing allegiance to an idea and you are swearing allegiance to a person. Pag sinabi mong I swear, pag gusto mo maging citizen ng Canada or Australia or New Zealand, it's the same oath of citizenship. Sinasabi mo, gusto ko maging alipin ni King Charles. Gusto ko maging alipin ni Prince William. At yung mga anak nila. So bumabalik tayo, hindi na naalis yung colonial era. Hindi na naalis yung pagka master and servant. Hindi na naalis yung owner and slave. Subject and king. There's a stark difference between the Pledge of Allegiance to a republic where all men are created equal, right, under God. And the difference is, I swear allegiance to the Queen. Kung anong sabihin niya, siya yung boss ko. Okay? So when you say, and I just wanted to say, when you celebrate your independence, okay, you have to celebrate the opportunity that our founding fathers had given you to be free and not a slave to any king or queen or any of their families. Then you will say you're independent from them and you can decide on your own, and we can form our own government of, by, and for the people. Para sa bayan, sinasabi natin, hindi para sa presidente or para kay mayor ganyan. Para sa bayan tayo.
Hindi sa tao.
Hindi sa tao. Hindi sa pamilya. Di ba ho? Kaya minsan sinasabi ko kay Cathy dati, naiinis parati ako pag may naririnig akong yung mga Pilipino na gustong-gusto manood ng mga Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles and ano. Kasi ang pagka-Pilipino, kinalaban natin yung ganyan eh. Doon tayo lumaban at namatay tayo dahil dyan sa mga ideyang ganyan eh. Tapos ngayon, gustong-gustong panoorin sa TV. Ang pagkaganyan, bakit gusto niyo bumalik sa Iran yon? Hindi perpekto yung gobyerno natin, definitely. Hindi perpekto yung ating republika. Pero lumalaban tayo. Di ba po? That's the opportunity given to us by our country, by our Pledge of Allegiance, by the principles enshrined in each. Ang ibang bansa po walang ganyan. Ang Canada, ang Australia, ang New Zealand po, hindi sila ganun mag-isip. You cannot question the Queen or the King. Hindi kayo pwedeng lumaban na ganyan. So nagbumoboto kayo ng Prime Minister nyo, pero ang boss ng Prime Minister nyo, yung hari. Kahit anong sabihin nyo, palitan yung mga batas, kung ayaw ng hari, magbumoto ka dyan, mag-rally kayo dyan ng magdamag, dyan lang kayo sa kalye, matulog kayo dyan, magutom kayo dyan, wala akong pakialam. Ako yung hari. Wala kayong karapatan. Why? Because you swore allegiance to me. I am the king. Di ba? Wala kayong karapatan. Kung ano sinabi ko, yan po ang batas. So yun lang po. I wanted to give that as a thought to open the live stream, no? Our live stream, we're being simulcast dito sa DZXL and our RMN and plus our Facebook dito sa Ating Katipunan and all. So we have some guests that are here, but I wanted to open the discussion tonight. With that, we will discuss other things kasi si Cathy had a nice discussion with Dr. Caloy Arcilia earlier this week, and I wanted her to expound on that more, and we can discuss also nuclear. That is part and parcel of being a sovereign republic. But for now, Cathy, any questions, any reactions to ang pagkasabi natin, ang pagka-independence? In other words, you have to rethink why you are Filipino, why you want independence. What is the basis for your independence? Why do we write the Constitution as such, di ba? Bakit ganun yung pagkasulat natin? Bakit may panatang makabayan, di ba?
Oh, yes.
Yun lang, Kath. Thank you.
Well, ako actually ang tanong ng bayan ito paano raw yung mga politiko o yung mga opisyal ng ating pamahalaan na gumagawa ng kalimuswasan? Let's say for example, involved sa korupsyon o kung ano man na nakakasira sa ating bansa at sa pamayanan. Yung mga gumagawa ng batas na nagiging dahilan ng paghihirap ng mamamayan. Masasabi bang sila ay mga Pilipino, Itos?
I-recite mo ulit yung panatang makabayan. Yan ang sagot mo. Di ba ho? Di ba? Wala na.
I-recite natin sa kanila.
Kasi what makes us Filipino is our pledge of allegiance. If you subscribe to that, don't. So anything you do outside of that, 'di ba? Kung kinakalaban mo yung mga prinsipyo and thoughts and ideas doon sa panatang makabayan, our pledge of allegiance, di obviously hindi ka Pilipino, hindi ka maka-Pilipino sa isip, salita at sa gawa. If you favor a foreign business, if you were benefiting from, let's say, a business that we know is impoverishing majority of the Filipinos, how can you call yourself a Filipino? Kahit anong bihis mo na makabayan ka, etc. Inaapi mo ang kapwa Pilipino, hindi ka Pilipino. Diba? So, for example, yung mga kumikita diyan sa EPIRA, kumikita diyan sa yung mga oligarko with our energy, can they call themselves Filipinos? Are they acting in the best interest of the Filipino people? Our senators, our congressmen, our president, they have to ask themselves and self-examine, are you acting in the best interests of the country? Or are you acting in the best interest of a foreign power or a foreign interest? Then you are a traitor to the country. If you are not acting in the interest primarily of the Filipinos, then you are not the Filipino. You are a traitor to your country. Whether you steal money or not, because if you have the power to make laws and you have the power to enact those laws, and you still go against what is in the real interest of your fellow Filipinos, to protect the general welfare of the Filipinos, then you are a traitor to your own republic. Magpalit ka na ng citizenship, 'di ba? 'Di ba? Swear of allegiance ka na lang doon kay Queen o kay King Charles kasi yun naman yung pabor ka sa kanila. Parang yung isang head ng Shell Philippines dati, nung napasara ni Cory yung nuclear power plant, ginawa siyang knight in the Queen's service. Ginawa siyang knight. When you're knighted by the Queen, ibig sabihin, yung buhay mo, you dedicated in the service of the Queen. Kaya Pilipino ka eh. Diba? Why will you dedicate yourselves in the service of a foreign power? Why will you be working for a foreign power? You should be working for the interest and the welfare and the well-being of Filipinos. And you should be fighting that. Eh kung binigyan ka ng award ng foreigner dahil sa pagkaserbisyo mo sa kanila, edi ikaw doon ka na, di ba? Masaya ka doon, edi doon ka na. Hindi ka na namin kailangan. Di ba, Kat?
You're correct. Kaya paalaala lang. Niisip ko tuloy mukhang kailangan yatang mag-recite ng ating mga politiko. 'Di ba? Every day para yung nang sa ganon yung kanilang mga gagawin talagang ayon sa sinumpaan na hindi lang katungkulan kasi pag ikaw ay nag-assume sa office bilang isang politiko o bilang isang kawani ng pamahalaan, meron kang out of office din na sinusumpaan. Bukod pa dito sa panunumpa sa katapatan sa watawat.
Right.
At yung portion na tutuparin ko ang mga tungkulin ng isang mamamayang makabayan at masunurin sa batas. Paglilingkuran ko ang aking bayan ng walang pag-iimbot at ng buong katapatan. Ang tanong dyan, tapat ba kayo sa inyong ginagawa? Tapat ba kayo na habang kayo ay nanunungkulan, ay tapat ba ang inyong ginagawa para sa kapakanan ng bansa at ng mamamayang Pilipino? Sagutin nyo yan sa amin. Yan lang yun.
Oh.
At kung hindi nyo masagot yan, ano bang dapat yung gawin? Malis na kayo.
Correct. So kaya nga yung yun yung simple lang kasi naka-enshrine na yan, nandiyan na yan eh.
Yes.
Kahit buluktutin mo yung mga salita, pagandahin mo ng konti or whatever, the spirit is the same. We are pledging allegiance to our flag and our republic behind it. The flag represents the republic. You can change the design of the flag anytime. It doesn't change the spirit and the principle of the republic.
Yes.
Right? You are pledging allegiance to an idea that men and women gave their lives to. Same with the United States. They gave their lives to that. Now, tama ba sila parate, yung US? Hindi. Minsan may masama silang presidente, minsan may magaling silang presidente, minsan bobo yung presidente nila. Minsan may nahanap na drug sa White House, parang tulad ngayon, may drug sa White House na nahanap. Oh. Minsan may maganyan na presidente. Oh. Minsan magagaling, minsan pinapatay yung US president. That's their presidential system. Same with us, it's a presidential system. Ano ba yung halagaan ng presidential system? Our citizens have a direct participation in the political process. Our citizens are able to vote who they want as senators and as president. Same with the US. Now, there are variations kasi may electoral college yung US, tayo hindi pa ganyan. And definitely, may dayaan dito, may dayaan doon, ganun talaga. Pero yung prinsipyo na voting, the right to suffrage is voting. Hindi lahat ng bansa may ganyan. Kung ayaw nila si King Charles, pwede ba nilang iboto? Pwede ba nilang i-impeach? Hindi. Nandiyan na yan. Bakit? Di ba? Yan ang mga tanong. Bakit hanggang ngayon may ganun pa sila? Na nag-iisip na yung mga tao, nakakabasa na, may filosofiya, may prinsipyo, may forms of government. Why are they still sticking? Why are they still honoring royal families?
Yes.
Why? Mankind is awake. Alam na nila, we are created equal under God. Why do we have to respect the royal family? Why do I have to be a subject? Ibang class sa royal family. Tapos pag masama ang ginawa nila, wala akong magagawa sa kanila. At least dito, may check and balance. Mas hindi perfecto, magulo nga eh. Yung nandito eh. Pero, nandiyan pa rin. Di ba? So, that's the difference of having this kind of setup. This kind of kind of government. And that stems from our belief. Our preamble. There, if you can pull it up, preamble po ng Constitution natin. Tapos, if you have preamble ng US Constitution. Diba? Because the preamble, ibig sabihin, you recite and you say, this is what will guide us. Diba? Ano yung preamble? Pwede niyong i-research yan. Diba? So, I will read it. Meron ka na ba? Wala pa. Sige. I will read it to you. It says, preamble of the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Okay? So, they put the reasons for creating this document na susundan ng buong bansa. Ang unang line, we the people, hindi King Charles, our king will tell us what to do. No, we the people together ordain this constitution in order to perform a more perfect union, United States Union, establish justice, ensure domestic peace, peace and order, provide for the common defense, armed forces, promote the general welfare of its citizens, and secure the blessings of liberty, freedom to ourselves and our future generations. That is the preamble of the United States. General welfare, 1789. Ngayon, search tayo ng preamble ng Philippine Constitution. Diba? Basahin ko rin. Okay. Ready? Basahin natin na. We, the sovereign Filipino people, imploring the aid of Almighty God, to build a just and humane society, establish a government that shall embody our ideals and aspirations, promote the common good, conserve and develop our patrimony, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of independence and democracy under the rule of law and a regime of truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. It sounds just like the US preamble. Almost the same. Nagdagdag lang tayo ng konti. Pinaganda pa ng konti dito. But the idea is the same. Pinalitan nila yung general welfare in the previous constitution, ginawa promote the common good. Kasi ang general welfare po means that everybody's welfare in terms of the state of their well-being is you have to you value it and you make it better, yung general welfare mo, yung pagkabuhay mo. Ito, promote the common good, has slightly different connotation. Kasi we have different ideas of common good. Iba pa yung idea ng common good. Pero ang general welfare, more or less the same kind. Welfare. How are you? How is your health? How is your education? How is your, how are you as a person? How are you living? How is your family? Yan ang general welfare. Common good is different. Iniba nila to sa 87 Constitution. But more or less, we can still say it embodies that. And it still says the idea, we, the sovereign Filipino people. Ibig sabihin, the idea is sovereign Filipino people. Is we decide. We are together. Government is not the president. Government is all of us. The president is not the king. Yun po yung ganyan. Yun po what it means. And we wanted to review it, sabi ko, because parang nawawala na sa atin yung idea nyo. At yung mga bata ngayon, they don't see it the same way. They don't see what it means to have general welfare, what it means to be sovereign. Pero nasa constitution natin yan. See, so that links back to independence. That allows us to be sovereign and free. And anything you do that does not allow the Philippines to be sovereign in all aspects, economic, political, everything else, then you are not faithful to the Constitution. Then you are not faithful to your pledge of allegiance. Because that's what you subscribe to do. Wala namang kaso eh. Kung hindi kayo faithful, ayaw nyo, hindi kayo niniwala dyan, di umalista kayo. Maglagay tayo ng taong, parang susundan lahat yung constitution. Diba? Maglagay tayo ng mga leader. Kasi karapatan natin yun as citizens, we the people, di ba?
Mm.
And we the people does not mean communism or socialism. We the people are independent, sovereign. We are not collective na para lang sa state. We don't live for the state. We create a government that will ensure our general welfare. We make our own general welfare. We decide. We choose our leaders who will promote the general welfare. That's what it means to be Filipino. That's what it means to be a citizen of the United States of America. If we go through history, ang United States po, ang siyang unang-unang sovereign republic sa mundo. That they're the first successful one. And every single republic, nakita niyo po yung ating panatang makabayan, nabasa po natin yung preamble ng konstitusyon natin. Obviously, meron tayong kinokopya sa kanila, di ba? Hindi naman masama yun kasi maganda naman yung idea and it's not American lang, it's for mankind. Declaration of Independence is all men are created equal under God and have a right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Lahat na po ng konstitusyon ng mga sovereign republics following that, pagkatapos po nun, makikita mo, kinopya nila. Our Declaration of Independence is very, very similar to the Declaration of Independence ng United States. And dapat lang, tama naman all men are created equal. How will you improve that statement? And all have the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. If you look at the constitutions and declarations of independence of Mexico, of even Vietnam, I think, is very similar to the United States. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because ang United States, hindi siya imperialist, hindi siya empire, hindi siya kingdom. Kahit minsan, dahil sa mga kalokohan ng mga ini-elect nilang presidente, okay, minsan they act like a monarchy. Dito rin naman sa Pilipinas, minsan they act like a monarchy. Diba? Yung mga leader natin. Pero, that's part of the democracy. That's part, we the people, should make sure that the leaders we elect stay true to the Constitution, our panatang makabayan, diba? And our preamble sa Constitution. It's our responsibility to make sure that they follow it. And if they don't, they can be replaced. That's our responsibility as citizens of. That's what it takes to be a free, sovereign republic. That's what it takes. Kung ayaw nyo, doon ka na kay King Charles. Ayaw nyo mag-isip, ayaw nyo gusto nyo enjoy lang, gusto nyo K-pop lang, gusto nyo BTS lang, diba? Itbulaga lang, diba? Gusto nyo ganyan, doon ka na sa, pero ang requirement po ng isang citizen ng Republika ng Pilipinas at Republic of the United States of America is you have to be active in the political process. That's the only way to ensure that the blessings of liberty are passed to the posterity. That's the only way. Mahirap ganun Kasi we the people We the sovereign people. That's what it means on June 12. Because June 12 and July 4 are arbitrary dates. They decided it lang, okay, from now on ito. It's not the dates that are significant. We just need a day to commemorate. Yung importante dan, yung ideas at yung prinsipyo na ipinaglalaban. Yun. Kat, any...
Nakakatuwa, hindi pala basta sinabi mong ikaw ay Pilipino, hindi kumbaga dahil ikaw ay nakatira sa Pilipinas, ikaw ay isinilang sa Pilipinas, o dahil kayumanggi ang kulay mo, 'di ba? Ang essence nun o ang kahalagahan nun ay kung ano yung ideya na dala-dala mismo, hindi lang nung mismong Declaration of Independence, kundi mismo yung panunumpa sa watawat natin. By the way, gusto ko lang i-recognize yung ating mga bagong kasama at kasama dito sa ating Zoom, no? Nandyan si Bishop Bing, of course, nandyan si Giancarlo EY, si Katipon PJ nandyan din, at si Tim Navarro mula sa bansang Australia. Si Bishop Bing ay mula sa Cagayan de Oro, no? City Fighters. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. At bigyan natin ng pagkakataon si Carlo EY para magtanong. Carlo?
Hello po, nandito na naman tayo ulit sa isang discussion o sa issue natin sa freedom natin. Tanong ko ng kaitos, bakit man ang nakapagturo ng ganito sa ating mga paaralan at kung naituturo din ba ito sa itong mga didiscuss natin sa mga bata? Kasi naobserbahan ko rin ngayon na parang hindi yata naituturo sa atin itong pinag-uusapan natin dito. At kung ano talagang ang dapat natin gawin para diyan. Yan ang dalawang tanong ko.
Thank you, Carlo. Itos?
Yeah, kung naintindihan ko mabuti, no, Carlo, you're saying ito ba'y tinuturo sa mga kabataan?
Opo.
Yeah, and if and how should it be taught? I used to teach, I taught for like 2 sems dun sa UPIS as part of my graduate thesis education. And nakita ko, it's very ma-textbook, di ba? Yung ating kasaysayan, Kailangan po, siguro, just as a style, kailangan gawing totoo yung ating kasaysayan. Ibig sabihin, when you're talking about Andres Bonifacio or you're talking about Emilio Aguinaldo o nag-uusapan natin si Rizal, kailangan aside from the ideas that they espouse, kailangan po ipaliwanag o ipahiwatig ang kanilang pagkatao. Meaning, naghirap rin sila, hindi naman sila perpektong tao. Pero, pag nakuha nila yung idea at nakita nila ito dapat yon para sa bansa o wala naman silang konsepto ng bansa at that time. Gusto lang nila malaya. Gusto lang nila, alam nila na ang Pilipinas at yung mga Pilipino hindi malaya. So si Rizal nga sinasabi ayokong awayin ang Espanya kasi siya nagturo sa atin, siya ganyan, mabait naman siya. Pero kailangan mas may representation tayo. Itong si Andres Bonifacio, on the other hand, who was also educated. Si Andres Bonifacio was educated. Hindi siya yung laban lang tayo. He was very learned. And so he had discussions. Sabi nila, pero kung ganun lang, walang mangyayari sa atin. Kasi ang layo-layo ng hari sa Espanya, hindi naman nakikinig sa atin yun. There are many discussions before the actual revolution. And I think si Rizal, hindi naman niya na-imagine na magiging martir siya. Hindi naman umaasa yun na maging martir. It's just that history chose him. Because ang Espanya at that time was already a falling power. Marami na rin gulo sa Spain. Marami na rin nawawala na yung mga resources niya, nag-aaway-away yung mga royal sa Spain. Magulo na rin sa Espanya, hindi nila ma-manage yung Pilipinas. Layo-layo ng Pilipinas sa Espanya at the time. And remember, at that time, kung sasakay ka ng barko papuntang Espanya, ano yan, 1 month siguro yan. Ilang ano yan. Kasi ang tagal niyan. Remember, wala namang motor. Hangin lang ang magdadala sa'yo. Okay? So it's very far and very long and very arduous. So reform was taking so much time. And remember po, when Rizal was shot 1896, tapos they declared the revolution. 1898 revolution. Pumapasok na yung Amerikano dito. They already declared Spanish-American War. So nagkasabay. And because America was being led by yung forces that were more colonial in mentality and monarchical in mentality, they decided they wanted to take over the Philippines. And they made a deal with Spain. O amin na lang yan. Pero yung Pilipinas, walang nagmay-ari sa amin. Hindi natin na kumpleto bago nagpalit. Nung nagpalit, naging ilalim na tayo ng Amerikano. And at that time, by the turn of the century, 1900, ang Amerika was the #1 superpower ng mundo. Walang makakatalo sa Amerika in terms of production, in terms of arms, because they were producing their own ships, tanks, everything. May marami din sa Europe, malalakas pa, pero pababa na sila. Ang Amerika, paakyat. And nakita nila, nasa atin na yung Pilipinas, strategic yan. Sige, maglagay tayo ng base militar dyan. Dyan na tayo. But you had a good president after that. In 1932, you had Franklin Roosevelt, who said, we should give independence na to the Philippines. Nandyan na siya. Franklin Roosevelt, we were still under the Americans until 1946, di ba? 1932, pumasok si Franklin Roosevelt sa Amerika. He was voted in as president. And sinabi na niya, kailangan tanggalin na natin, bigay na natin sa Pilipino yung Pilipinas. Pero, iwanan lang natin, baka may ibang sumakop dyan. So what do? Let's prepare them for independence. Paano? We establish a National Power Corporation. We put up the SSS. Lahat yan po, 1930s ang dumating. And si Franklin Roosevelt, ginawa rin niya yung SSS sa US, ginawa rin niya yung, ni-nationalize niya lahat ng activities na basic services sa United States. Kinalaban niya yung mga bankero at yung mga oligarko doon. At gusto niya maging simbolo ng success ng American system ang Pilipinas. Kaya naglagay siya ng mga things dito sa Pilipinas, establishing, para maging successful pag pinabayaan na natin. At magiging ehemplo yan para sa ibang mga bansa na gusto maging independent. Itong sistema natin ay okay. Yan ang gusto ni Franklin Roosevelt. Problema, palapit na ng palapit, nakikita nila yung Japan was preparing for war. Germany was also preparing for war. So, strategically, sabi ni Roosevelt, wag muna, sige, keep muna natin. Kasi at least may presence tayo dyan sa Southeast Asia and Asia in case Japan does anything stupid. So, we had Clark Air Base, we had Subic Naval Base. Ang hindi nga alam ng tao. So si Hitler during 1938-39 invades Poland and then starts World War II there. Ayaw sumali ng United States. Hindi sila ayaw. Hindi sila nakikisali dyan. Sabi na, problema niyan. Pero susuportahan namin kayo by what? Bibigyan namin kayo ng mga armas, bibigyan namin kayo ng mga tangke, papahiram namin sa yung ganyan. Kasi kami nakaka-produce ng ganyan. So yung mga allies, France, Britain, against Germany, binibigyan nila ng mga... Pero hindi sila sumasali. Until 1941. 1941, alam niyo yung Pearl Harbor sa Hawaii, binomba ng Hapon. Doon pumasok na yung Amerika kasi binomba na tayo. Pasok na tayo sa gera. Pero ang hindi alam ng karamihan, kasabay ng pagbomba ng Pearl Harbor ng mga Hapon, binomba rin nila yung Clark Air Base dito sa Pilipinas. Bakit? Kasi yun yung Air Force ng US eh. Binomba nila yung Pearl Harbor, yun ang naval force nila. Para hindi makagalaw yung mga aircraft carriers nila, mga destroyer, mga barkong pangdigmaan. Pero dito sa Clark Air Base, doon yung Air Force ng Amerika. Binomba nila, sinupresa rin nila. Surprise attack, 2. So pasok na sa gera ng Amerika. But going back to your question, these things should be repeated and repeated every year. And you should give it life when you teach it to the students. You should give it life as if it happened yesterday. That's the only way a kid will be inspired to follow in the footsteps of patriots in the Philippines. That's the only way. Pag ganyan lang, recite, panatang makabayan, imig ko ang Pilipinas. Tapos, may flag raising ceremony every Monday, pero, nasa init ka, ganyan. Kailangan namin gawin yan eh. 'Di ba? Tapos, lupang hinirang, ganyan. Walang meaning. Walang bisa. How do you develop love for an idea if you don't make that idea real sa mga bata?
Correct.
You have to make it real. You have to make it and you say, hindi tayo perpekto. Pero ang gusto natin, i-improve every year yung ating republika. Strengthen it. But we have to do that. That's what, and you are participating in that. Kaya bumoboto kayo sa presidente. Kaya ganyan yan. Because our republic is only as good as its citizens. Pag ang citizens natin, puro BTS ang inaatupag, puro TikTok, patay na tayo. You think our leaders are bad now because of who voted them in? You wait another generation. It will be the TikTok generation voting our leaders.
Grabe.
That's what's happening. So, but how do you make it interesting for yung mga bata? How do you make it interesting for the next generation? You have to be like our founding fathers. You give your lives for that idea. You dedicate your lives to that idea and that promotion of that idea, of the principles of our sovereign republic. Yun lang po yung solusyon dyan sa education na yun. And everything else will follow. Itong panatang makabayan lang eh. Mini-memorize natin ako, memoryado ko yan eh. Pero, ngayon ko lang at recently, napaisip, ano ba talaga ang meaning yan? Ba't yan ang sinasabi natin? Ba't yan ang nire-recite? Ano bang meaning ng general welfare? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng general welfare? Importante ba yan? Diba? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng we the people? We the sovereign people. What does that mean? Well, then you will know what it means to be a Filipino. Just like you will know what it means to be a Mexican citizen or a United States citizen. Diba? It's not, why are you proud of your country? Ano bang ginawa ng bansa mo? Diba? Why? Pagmamahal ng Pilipinas, bakit? Diba? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng Pilipinas? Hindi ka makabayan. Bakit? Ano bang makabayan? What does it mean? Diba? Or makabayan ako. Hindi ka makabayan. Bakit? Kasi hindi ka sumusunod sa panatang sa ating Pledge of Allegiance. Panatang makabayan. Hindi ka sumusunod sa Constitution natin. Hindi ka sumusunod sa preamble. And you can prove it. O ito, basahin natin. O, sumusunod ka ba dyan? Pinapaboran mo yung mga oligarko eh. Pinapaboran mo yung mga foreign countries eh.
Mm.
Pinapaboran mo yung mga nagnanakaw sa atin eh. Ang kayamanan natin, pinapaboran mo, binibigyan mo pang incentive. Diba? Sa batas. Para daw foreign investment. Diba? So that's I don't know if I answered the question properly of Carlo, pero that's how I would put that education. You make it real for them. That if they were real people who went through the same things everybody goes through as a human being. And you mean Rizal and the founding fathers. And yung importansya po, hindi yung words. The importance is the ideas that they wanted to convey. It's the ideas that led them to these events. Yun lang po.
Okay, thank you, Itos. At talagang napakaliwanag ng lahat ng mga sinabi mo. Napapaisip tuloy ako eh. So ibig sabihin yung mga gumagawa ng batas talaga na nagpapahirap sa ating mamamayan, no? Eh mag-isip-isip na sila dahil hindi nila ginagawa yung kung ano yung panunumpa sa watawat, no? Anyway, it's 8:12 na po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time, at kayo po ay nakikinig pa rin sa himpilan ng RMN DZXL.
Kayo ay nakikinig sa
Ating Katipunan.
Ang Ating Katipunan ay maririnig sa DZXL 558 sa talapihitan ng inyong mga radyo tuwing linggo alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi. Ang Ating Katipunan ay mapakikinggan sa himpilan ng DZXL 558 kHz AM band.
Okay, tayo po ay muling nagbabalik dito pa rin sa ating palatuntunang ang Ating Katipunan. Siyempre kasama natin ang Pangulo ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, Itos Valdes. At sa Zoom naman ay kasama natin sila Giancarlo Iway, si Bishop Bing, and of course si Tim Navarro mula sa bansang Australia. At siyempre yung ating mga technical team mula sa himpilan ng DZXL. At sa ating studio, no, walang iba kundi si Ver Archivido. At Itos, magandang isa sa mga iniisip ko itong recently lang na grabe rin yung kampanya tungkol dito sa nuclear waste, dito tungkol sa hindi pagtuligsa dito sa nuclear technology. Medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng problema at dahil sa mga sunod-sunod na pagkilos protesta na ginawa ng ilan nating mga kababayan ay minarapat kong kapanayamin si Dr. Carlo Arcilla, at hindi lang siya actually ang nakapanayam ko, but dun sa palatuntunan special episode ng tuklasin natin ay nakapanayam ko si Dr. Arcilla. Pero nung nakaraan din ay nakapanayam ko rin si Dr. Thomas Neil Pascual. Siya po ay isang nuclear medicine physician. So hinagilap ko yung actually doon sa naganap na tanungan na doon si Nolan Chongco, ang spokesperson ng Makabansa, no? At tinutuligsa nga nila ito ay kaugnay doon sa paglalabas ng nuclear waste water sa Fukushima. At sabi nga nila, nangangamba sila na makakasama ito sa kapaligiran at sa kalusugan ng tao. At posibleng umabot yan dito sa ating bansa. Ayon dun sa panayam ko kay Dr. Carlo Arcilla, sabi nga niya, marami ng mga bansa ang gumagamit ng nuclear power plants. At kung iisipin mo, itong mga nuclear power plants na to, syempre merong mga tinatawag tayong nuclear wastewater din na inilalabas yan. Pero these are, sabi nga niya, treated, lalo na itong dito sa Fukushima, Gusto ko lang itos na malaman, no? Kasi ikaw ay kabilang sa Atoms for Peace. At kasama ka ng ama mo sa Renaissance Philippines na nagsusulong ng pagbubukas ng nuclear power plant. Batay sa kasaysayan, sa kaalaman mo, sa kasaysayan sa buong mundo, ng mga nuclear power plants sa buong mundo, ito bang mga kampanyang ito na sinasabi nilang nakakasama, itong mga waste, nuclear waste na yan, kung tubig yan o kung yung uranium na tinatawag nila, ito ba ay masasabi mong pakikialam din, katulad na nangyari sa atin, pakikialam din sa soberanya ng ating bansa in terms of siyempre, alam natin na si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos during that time na kaya niya itinayo ang nuclear power plant, ang Philippine nuclear power plant ay para unlad ang ating bayan to go into industrial. So, nakikita mo ba na itong mga propaganda, itong mga pagpipigil sa pagpapaunlad ng ating bansa ay masasabi mong pagsikil din sa kalayaan ng ating bansa ito?
Definitely. Definitely, pero yung kalaban natin dito, at that time, there was a worldwide campaign against nuclear. So not just the Philippines, but to take out all the nuclear plants from around the world. And this was led by a coalition of international, parang yung World Economic Forum, yung mga elite banking cartels and the financial cartels, they were all against nuclear. And pag finance nila yung media, nag-fund pa nga sila ng mga sine, mga movies para matakot yung mga tao. So and then kontrolado nila yung media, kaya nilang magpalabas ng ganyan. It was again. Now, in our particular case, there was also a move to take out Ferdinand Marcos Sr. No? Yan ang gusto nila mangyari. And they use this as a catalyst. Until now, may mga propaganda against nuclear waste, against, sabi nila, ma-waste daw, delikado yung waste. Pero hindi naman nagbabasa yung mga tao. But this is well-funded. Not as well-funded as before, pero until noon, meron pa rin. And until noon, marami pa rin nalilinlang dito sa mga yan. Takot na takot sila sa nuclear, pero hindi, pag tinanong mo bakit, lahat ng sasabihin nila, galing sa sine, galing sa haka-haka, dahil galing sa rumor, hindi naman totoo. So someone like Carlos Garcia, like you were interviewing, lumalaban kasi scientist si Carlos Garcia, di ba?
Yes.
So alam niya man yung totoo. And remember po, dati pa yan lumalaban, kahit masama na yung tingin ng publiko sa nuclear, lumalaban pa rin si Caloy Garcia. And sumasali kami dyan. So we started an organization called Atoms for Peace. Atoms for Peace was named after organization started by Dwight Eisenhower in the 50s na sinasabi, huwag na tayo mag-nuclear weapons, nuclear power tayo. And there's a big difference of nuclear power and nuclear weapons. You cannot build a nuclear weapon if you build a plant for only nuclear power. You cannot. It's impossible. You need different components. At yung mga components na yon, pag bumili ka nun, alam ng mundo na you're planning to build a nuclear weapon. Iisa lang ang ima-manufacture mo. Alam na alam niya. So pag nuclear power is very different. Okay? And if you listen to the interview, siguro it's still online, di ba, Kath? Naka-archive yata. Please try and check out the interview with Caloy Garcia. And check out our interview also with Congressman Marco Juanco, who is still also a lone voice in fighting for, the country to go back to nuclear. Alam niyo po, again, lahat ng advanced countries may nuclear power. Lahat ng, when you say advanced, bakit sila naging advanced? Because they're able to provide their citizens cheap electricity. And when you have cheap electricity, you will have cheap water. When you have cheap water, you will have cheap agriculture. They're able to do that. When you do that, businesses will grow, people can build their own businesses, and people will live. General welfare is improved. Okay? And right now, ngayon po, kung gusto natin mag-industrialize, gusto natin to build our rail, you cannot move without nuclear. Lahat ng gusto may aspirations na mag-industrialize. May aspirations na gumanda ang tagbo ng ating ekonomiya. Lahat po ng bansang yon may nuclear na. At kung wala pa silang nuclear, nag-apply na sila. China is building nuclear power plants talagang on the fastest pace ever. They have the most extensive high-speed rail network in history that moves goods and people across China in the fastest rate history. At tayo sa Pilipinas, anong inaatupag natin? Pinag-aawayan pa natin yan, pinag-uusapan, hot topic yan, yung slogan natin sa Department of Tourism. Yung sa akin, ano ngayon? Kung what does it matter what your slogan is if your country is not being strengthened and built through economic front? It does not matter. It's a non-issue. It does not matter. Doon natin, mali yung mga focus natin o talagang nililinlang lang tayo. Ang dali natin linlangin. Parang ang dali natin lokohin. Ang dali natin i-distract. You know, every day, yung US transports nuclear waste every single day. From their nuclear power plants to the storage facilities. Every day po, ha? Wala po kayong naririnig na aksidente, wala ho kayong naririnig na sumasabog, wala ko kayong namamatay yung mga everyday po, ha? Kasi sasabihin nyo, hindi tayo marunong, hindi tayo, no? We had the privilege of working with, early on, Fidel Correa. Yung ID po niya, nuclear engineer number 1 of the Philippine Nuclear Power Plant. Engineer number 1 po. Kasi trinain natin. Kaya natin mag-train ng kahit sinong tao. We have the means. We have the brains. Pero umaalis ang mga tao natin, umaalis yung mga enhinyero natin, umaalis yung mga scientists natin, umaalis. Why? Because we're not building our country. We are not investing in the future. We're not building power plants. We're not building rail systems. We don't have a direction. Wala po tayong wala pa tayong blueprint, wala tayong direksyon kung anong gagawin natin sa bansa natin at sa mga tao natin. Ano bang plano sa Mindanao? Ano bang plano sa Luzon? How do we develop the other islands? Wala namang ganyan eh. May mga planong nakatenga lang yan, pero walang national plan. Wala siyang national development plan. There's nothing. National Economic Development Plan, blueprint, wala. At susundan natin for the next 50 years, wala. Zero. So, alam ng mga bansa yun. Yung mga bansang kita mo on the rise are the countries that are looking to have more nuclear plants. Wala nang question sa teknolohiyang yon. Tapos na. Tapos na ang debate doon. Sobra tayong iniiwanan na iwan na tayo, nasa likod na tayo. Ang ingay pa natin pero nasa likod naman tayo. Lahat sila nandun na sa harap. Patapos na yung race, yung yung
Nagsisimula pa lang
takbuhan.
tayo.
Tayo nasa likod. Kumakanta-kanta pa tayo, kala mo naman, 'di ba? Kala mo naman napakagaling ng Pilipino, 'di ba? Proud na proud pa tayo. Iwan na tayo. We're left behind. And we're not moving. So in terms of the nuclear and your interview with Carlos, I would suggest po yung mga guests natin at mga nakikinig sa atin dito sa radyo, you try to go on Facebook, naka-archive naman yon yung tuklasin natin ni Cathy Cruz tsaka yung ating interview and our guest with Marco Juanco.
Yes.
And if you look at our archives, marami po. Nung nandito pa si Chairman Tatay ko, si Chairman Butch, marami rin discussion on nuclear. So naka-archive na yan. So panoorin nyo, try to understand it. Because iwan na tayo eh. Hindi na nga nuclear pinapag-usapan. Nuclear fission, it's nuclear fission already. It's nuclear fusion already. Alam mo, may comment dito si Tim Navarro, no? Nuclear energy is safe when handled correctly. Take the US Navy, for instance. The US Navy has a 10 Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Correct. And theoretically, young aircraft carrier na yan, the amount of energy, the amount of the megawatts, yung megawatts ng needed to power that aircraft carrier is almost as big, if not bigger than the Philippine nuclear power plant. I can stand to be corrected, pero it takes that much energy. And hindi na kailangan mag-refuel yan. Nagdadock lang yan dito sa mga ibang ports dahil sa tao. At provisions, yung pagkain and all of that. Di ba? Di ba? Di ba po? So that's what nuclear power. Hindi pa, it's not only that. Not aircraft carriers na nakikita natin. Yung submarines na hindi natin nakikita, nuclear powered yun.
Yes.
Nuclear fuel ang gamit nila that can power a small city. So theoretically, pwede silang manatili dyan sa Philippine Deep o dyan sa may Subic sa ilalim because this is a deep water port. Hindi natin malalaman. 25 years, 30 years, pwede sila dyan. Hindi na sila akyat kundi dahil sa tao, di ba? Hindi natin malalaman. And they're armed with nuclear missiles. Doon sila. Nandyan lang sila nakatambay. Oh. Yun eh. So that's what it is. So the technology is far beyond already. Nuclear is there na. Tayo, nagpahuli tayo eh. Nagpapolitiko tayo. Pinabayaan natin yung mga liderato natin, nagaguhin tayo. Sumusunod tayo sa mainstream media, sa propaganda nila, nakinig tayo, yun, this is the result. Di ba? Yun lang po.
Tama ka dyan, Itos. And in fact, no, buti pinaalala sa akin ng ating kasama na Seaver. Sabi nga niya if we have nuclear energy raw, the medical diagnostic procedures here in our country will be cheaper because of the medical isotopes. One of the expensive countries ang bansa natin sa mga medical procedures like magnetic resonance imaging, precision emission tomography and other diagnostic machines na makakatulong sa ating mga kababayan sa kanilang mga sakit tulad ng cancer. Totoo yan kasi yan din yan po yung lumabas din sa interview ko. Naku, si Katipon PJ pala ang nagsabi nun. In fact, yan po ang lumabas din dun sa interview ko kay Dr. Thomas Neil Pascual. Siya po ay isang S&T Fellow ng DOST-PNRI at siya ay isang nuclear medicine physician. So makikita niyo po, actually yung tritium na sinasabi nga po na masama raw nalalabas mula doon sa ilalabas daw ng bansang Japan mula doon sa Fukushima. Itong tritium na to na kinakatakutan ng ilang mga ayaw ng nuclear technology ay ito yung ginagamit para sa pag-detect ng cancer ng tao. Kumbaga sabi ni Dr. Neil Pascual, itong tritium na to, sinasabi nga niya na accurate na nadedetect kung gaano kaliit, kalaki at posisyon mismo ng cancer. So, ang effect nun, ayon sa kanya, ay maraming mga kababayan tayo na maagang nagagamot, dahil maagang nadedetect at accurate, ibig sabihin sakto mismo yung na-identify kung saan mismo yung cancer na yon. So with this technology, sabi nga niya, kung ito ay tuloy-tuloy na ginagamit, tingin niya na talagang mas magiging mura ito at available. At pinipilit ng DOST-PNRI in particular ang pagsusulong nito. And bilang isang bansa na bagamat huli na tayo, pero marami tayong mga katulad ni Dr. Thomas Neil Pascual at ni Dr. Carlo Arcilla na isang renowned geologist, ay talagang kinakailangan suportahan at tulungan natin sila dahil sila yung mga tamang tao na dapat nating pinapakinggan pagdating sa mga teknikalidad about nuclear technology. At meron tayong tinatawag na International Atomic Energy Agency o yung IAEA na kung saan nagbabantay sa buong mundo ng paggamit ng mga nuclear technology. So kung batid nila yan, katulad nga ng sabi ni Itos, batid ng IAEA na kung ito ay gagamitin mo para maging makakasama sa humanity, no? So ito lang yung kinakailangan tignan natin yung ating mga kababayan, wag po tayong magpalinlang. Basahin po natin at tingnan natin kung may makikita po kayong mga balita. Tip ko lang po ito sa inyo. Kung may makikita po kayong mga balita, ang balita po ay tungkol sa masama ang nuclear technology, masama ang DNPT, tingnan niyo po kung sino po ang sumulat nito, sino po ang gumawa ng statement na to, at sino po ang makikinabang sa statement nilang to. Kung ang makikinabang sa statement na to ay yung mga taong alam natin na pro-depopulation o ibig sabihin nagbabawas ng yung population control na tinatawag natin. At sila rin yung mga grupo na sumisira para umunlad ang ating bansa. Pagmasdan niyo po yan. One time, pag-uusapan po natin, siguro one of these Sundays, ay pag-uusapan po natin yung tungkol sa bakit ba ganito yung nangyayari sa buong mundo at ano ba talaga ang dahilan at punot dulo kung bakit patuloy na naghihirap ang ating buong mundo at patuloy din na nakatingin ang marami nating mga sinasabing ekonomista na magagaling daw sa pamahalaan na yung pagdami ng tao ang dahilan ng kahirapan. So, hindi po yun ngayon ang topic natin, but later on sa mga susunod po na tatanghal natin ay yan po yung pag-uusapan natin at magugulat po kayo kung sino-sino itong mga organisasyong ito, sino-sino ang mga taong ito na nandyan sa pamahalaan natin na ganito ang takbo ng kanilang pag-iisip. Anyway, it's time to read the text messages. sent by our listeners. Their opinion does not necessarily reflect our own, but we reserve the right to read them to the public in the interest of freedom of speech. Of course, let's read. Eto, meron tayong, sabi ni Jerry Magbag, sabi niya, good PM po. At sabi naman ni Luis Gerald, New York City is named after Duke of York. Mula Britanya, which is yung titulo niya sa monarchy po. Tapos pansin ko sa may New England dyan sa Boston, kung saan galing din sa Britanya po. By the way, good evening po sa inyong dalawa. Sleepy Joe pledges allegiance to China. I heard that may isang federal judge ay inutusan na pagbawalan ang Biden admin na makipagtulong sa mga big tech companies habang nadidinig pa ang trial ukol sa censorship. Itos, do you want to react on this sa sinabi ni ano?
No, no need. Okay lang.
Okay. At sabi naman ni Boyet Cariabras, good evening Katipunan, kawawa ang Pilipinas sa kamay ni McCoy Jr. Inutil na pangulo sa daming katiwalian ng gobyerno. Walang pakialam, pinakahuli ang pagbubudol ng tourism ad. Parang wala lang. Ay nako bayan, Anli Budol Administration, gising Pilipinas. Sabi naman ni Joanne, bakit kailangan pa nila baguhin o maganda naman yung old version? Yan. Siguro ito yung binabanggit niya na panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas o panatang makabayan. At sabi ni Rene Mateo, monarkiya, kolonya, pakunwari, tutulong. Mayroong sariling interes para lang sa ekonomiya nila. Pandarayang kalakal sa pagtulong nila. Tulad ng Africa, ginigipit ng West mga resources nila. Pasa sa West Africa, patuloy naghihirap. Ganda ng harapan na sa likod pala kadiliman yung dala nila sa mga third country. Lumalaban na pakunwari na sa gobyerno, puro ingay sa mga media. At sabi naman ni Quintin Labrador, ang SB 1869 labag na kaagad sa preamble pa lang ng 1987 Constitution. Pero itinutulak pa din ng traidor na mga senador at fake president na Marcos Jr. Binababoy talaga ng mga politikong pulpol ang taong bayan. Dapat kumilos na lahat, arestuhin na ng mamamayan ang mga traidor na to para sa ikabubuti ng bansa. Yan. Mula kay Paulo Melgar, okay talaga ang mga talakayan sa Katipunan. Thank you po, Sir Paulo. At sabi naman ni Dennis Estabal, totoo po, fake yung so-called Pinoy pride when we have nothing to be proud about as a race. You want to comment, Itas? And sabi naman ni Cesar Soberano, mabuhay ang KDP at lahat ng mga patriotikong tunay na Pilipino na lumalaban para sa kaunlaran at kasarinlan. No more to Anglo-American Empire, toward and forward to the multipolar world order. Yan. Sabi naman ni Osman Mohamed Zin, without national plans is like a ship sails to nowhere. At ayon kay Edgardo Tadeo, monitor po ako sa DZXL tuwing linggo. Yan ang sabi niya. At mula sa Zoom, teka po yan. Sabi niya, how to build 10 nuclear power plants without cost to the government. Yan po yung video interview daw ni Kabuch sa YouTube archive. So silipin nyo na lang po yan. At makikita nyo po, I hope bisitahin nyo po yung YouTube account ng Katipunan Channel o Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino. Nang sa gayon po ay marami po kayong makikita na mga impormasyon, malalaman nyo po talaga, magugulat na lang po kayo dahil ibang-iba po ang impormasyon na makakalap nyo kumpara po sa tinatawag po natin na ibang-iba po sa mga tinatawag nating mga mainstream media. Ibang-iba po yung mga impormasyon na yan. Anyway, I just want to acknowledge Katipunan. May question si PJ. PJ, sige, go ahead. Bigyan daan natin si PJ. PJ?
Yes po, Katipon na Ate Cathy, and good evening to all of our mga Katipon, and it's good to be back to your program. Yeah, I just want to ask Brother Itos regarding kasi we've been discussing about how to be independent and regarding yung sovereignty ng isang bansa. Kasi I came across a news article last week with regards to our labor sector. Kasi this has been going around for almost a decade. We have been changing a lot of administrations. Yung they increase kasi yung 40 pesos na wage hike sa mga labor sector natin. Now we know dito sa organization natin na it will just create inflation. Now, ang question ko is, does this really translate to show our to show our independence for our, or what I mean is to give independence and yung respect for our labor sector? What does po ba Brother Itos, the LaRouche ideas to tell about our labor sector? Does it mean we just have to increase the wage hike? Does it for the benefit ng mga listeners natin? Thank you.
Thank you, Katibong PJ. Thank you for your question. It's nice to hear your voice again. As usual, no? Nakasama natin si PJ dyan sa nuclear power plant. Bumisita kami. Meron kaming tinignan ni Cathy na nagpadala si Ber ng picture. Payat pa kami lahat no? Si Ber, walang kataba-taba sa katawan dati. Nung bumisita kami sa nuclear power plant. So PJ kasama doon. So nice to see you, PJ. But no, it doesn't help. It's a political arrangement. Tumataas ang bilihin, tumataas ang inflation. So hahabulin nila ng tataasan. So yung mga tao, syempre, yung labor sector and everybody, sasabihin nila, taasan nyo yung That's not the solution. It doesn't mean our economy is improving. The solution to inflation is production. And production taking out the middlemen. Yung mga nag-hoard, yung mga nagtatago ng mga goods. You increase production, you fight inflation. Why? At least in that level, because at least yung basic goods and services will be low. It should be low. But it now at this point, you cannot just do one thing and expect it to solve the problem. It is a political solution para tumahimik na yung unrest. That's all it is. It will not solve it in the long run. So, nagtataya lang sila to... Look, the solution there is to bring back manufacturing to the country. We have to industrialize. We have to take control of our energy sector. We have to renationalize our energy sector, our water, and everything else. But you have to have a plan. If you want to build, you want to industrialize, you want to have an industry na car, you want to have steel industry, paano mo gagawin yan kung napakamahal ng electricity? Paano mo gagawin yan na napakamahal, wala kang steady supply of water? So it starts from one thing. If you have a nuclear power plant, you have a nuclear power program, it has to be designed to your industrial aspirations. So kunwari, may nuclear power plant ka, may desalination ka na rin. You have enough power for desalination. You have cheap, reliable, and consistent power. For 75 years, hindi mo napapalitan. Hindi mo napapalitan ang fuel niyan for 75 years. At least. Okay? So you have cheap now desalination. Ano ba yung desalination? Kukunin mo yung tubig dagat, gagawin mong potable. So you can plant. You can run energy. When you have a manufacturing facility kasi, mabigat ang gamit ng tubig dyan. Kasi ang tubig pang coolant yan. When you have a steel factory. So then you can create steel. When you can make steel, when you have a steel plant, you can now build cheaper. But it has to be one policy, one plan, one design, one strategy. And all of those components have to be in line with your national development goals. Hindi pwede yung itong gusto mo gawin, pero lahat nagsasarili. Tapos yung bangko mo, paano hihiram paano maglo-loan yung businessman when the interest rates are so high? And you're going to commercial banks. You have to have then a national bank. A national bank is a government bank. So a government bank will say, this is our plan to develop the country. This is what we want to do in the next 50 years. We want 50 nuclear power plants. We want to build the national rail network. We want to increase our agricultural output ×4, ×6, right? To be self-sustainable. But to do that, we have to nationalize our energy sector. So to control the cost of electricity. And then now you're a businessman. Gusto mo mag-isa, we will give incentives, 25 years to 1% interest on the loan. Pero you only deal with the Philippine National Bank. For example, the National Bank. Then I will lend you that. Kung gusto mo pati yun ng casino, hindi kami magpapahiram sa iyo ng pera. Doon ka sa BDO, doon ka sa BPI, private banks. Doon sila maglaban sa presyo. Pero pag gusto mong in line with our development goals, I want to put up a company that makes high-speed rail train tracks. Hiram ka sa gobyerno because that's part of our national development plan. I want to build a company that supplies, I don't know, yung maritime steel or boat making, shipbuilding. Oh, ito, loan. But the Philippine National Bank or National Bank cannot just print money, right? That's inflationary. No, it can issue credit. It does not have to go and should not go through the central bank. So when you talk about this, yung ginagawa nilang labor, yung increasing the labor, you cannot solve that issue. It's not an answer to a problem because you will increase the labor cost. Then the company employing the labor is now under pressure kasi tumaas yung gagastusin niya. Mataas na yung electricity, mataas na yung bilihin, mataas na. Tapos tataasan mo pa ng labor. That company will go bankrupt and nobody earns money. Yan ang problema. That's why I'm saying it's a political solution. Kailan ba yung SONA? Kailan ba yung State of the Nation?
July 24?
Ay, malapit na.
July 24, malapit.
Malapit na. Kailangan may mabango ng konti. Kailangan maganda yung mga balita, di ba? Oh. Those are band-aid solutions. And whoever's advising the president is... Because now, after that, what will you do now? You're stuck with that.
Mm-hmm.
You will have to print. That's the danger. So again, you have to look at the different components, not just one linear solution. If this happens, no. The economy is it's a geometrical discussion. Everything affects everything. So you have to have that kind of outlook and solution. Everything else is band-aid and short-term and nearsighted and politically motivated. Yun lang. I hope I answered your question, Brother PJ, properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Itos, and thank you, PJ. May isa pang may ilang pa tayong mga texter. Sabi ni Gina Bonviaje, "Hi Ma'am Cathy and Sir Itos, keep on watching you here from Cyprus." At sabi naman ni Osman Mohammed Zin, I still think with nuclear power plant, the problems will still around because of poor management and infrastructure. Same too with water. I noticed the Philippines is only country in Southeast Asia having this problem. At sabi naman ni Marga M, tama po kayo. Yan ang ilan sa ating mga komentaryo. At meron lang isa pang nagtatanong dito. May sabi ng isang texter natin, ano raw ba yung mas importante, kapitalista o manggagawa, Itos? Itos?
You have to redefine ang capitalist and laborer are terms given to us by the banking elite and the tinatawag natin mga ano, how do you say, part of the international cabal or international cartel. Yan ang tinuturo sa atin sa school, na there's a difference of capitalista. Pag capitalista ka, masama ka. Pag laborer, ano, why? Because it's pitting the capitalist against the people. It assumes that the capitalist is exploiting the laborer. That's Marxism. That is communism. That is socialism. That is the basic idea of socialism. That is wrong. You don't look at it like that. You look at it as the government providing the needed environment or climate for industry to grow. And everybody works together with that. Okay, so there are entrepreneurs who will say, we'll put up this steel factory. But you have to give, because nga, it's a credit system and because you're building a country, the workers in the steel factories, okay, they're valued because they are skilled workers. They are contributing to that factory's success. Okay, and they will benefit from that. So hindi siya kalaban. Yan ang ano, poison. Ano sa Tagalog ang poison? Kamandag?
Lason.
Ha? Lason. Yan ang lason na ipinapasok ng mga yung tao behind Karl Marx and ano, nakalaban ng talaga. Yan ang natural state of man, that man will exploit another. Hindi po yun totoo. Not necessarily so. So we have to take ourselves away from who's more important, capitalista or labor. That's not the discussion. The discussion is what mankind being created equal can achieve and how they can build towards their aspirations, or meet their aspirations of the general welfare. Kasi at the end of the day, it's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Yun. Hindi life, liberty, and pursuit of mansion sa Forbes Park. Diba? Hindi life, liberty, and bilhin ng Ferrari. Diba? O life, liberty, and maraming chicks. Hindi naman ganun ang life, liberty, and pursuit. What is happiness of mankind? Happiness of mankind is wala nang kinakatakutan, wala nang fear from want, fear from ano ba yung 4 freedoms? Freedom from want, freedom from hunger, all of the 4 freedoms of Franklin Roosevelt. Yan ang pursuit of happiness. 'Di ba? Nakapag-aral ng mabuti, pag-uwi, masaya kasama magulang, sapat na pagkain, hindi naman kailangan engrande. Malinis ang kapaligiran, secure ang surroundings kasi yung mga tao gusto yung secure surroundings. Yun lang yun. Hindi ba yun? Freedom of want, from fear, freedom of speech, freedom of worship. Yun lang naman yung gusto eh. Freedom from want and fear. Importante. Diba? Hindi ka nang mangangamba, hindi ka nang mag-iisip kung saan ka. So, you have to look at it in those terms. Hindi magkalaban po ang kapitalista. Those are terms that are given to us na pag-aralan yan, Marxist terms yan. Ang irony po niyan, kung magbabasa kayo, kung ang nagturo niyan at nagsulat niyan, kapitalista. Binigay kay Marx. Okay? Marx worked for the East India Company, the biggest company in the world in 1800s. And he learned all of his economic principles and philosophies from that. So that's Karl Marx. Yun po. 5 minutes na lang, Kat. 5 minutes na lang before we extra. I wanted to promote, di ko lang alam, hindi yata ma-show dito yun eh. Hindi yata papakita dito sa Pilipinas. But there is a movie out now that's making more money than Indiana Jones sa US. Yun yung big movie ng Disney, Indiana Jones. Mas madami pang nakikita. Pangalan ng movie na yan ay Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom. Yung topic po niyan, it's about trafficking, human trafficking, particularly child trafficking, which is becoming the number one biggest industry in the world right now. Yun po yung totoo. So it's about that. It's a movie. Sana, di ko alam kung mada-download nyo, mapapanood nyo. Sound of Freedom. Okay? It's the number one movie sa US ngayon. Okay? And it's maganda po siya because, di ba, alam natin yung Pilipinas, isa sa pinaka malaking bansa for child, sex trafficking. Child trafficking. Sadly. So I think importante makita to ng mga sana may mga businessman dyan na entrepreneur na dalhin dito yung movie na yan. Kasi talagang magandang sinehan po yan. And good lessons and good morals. Yun lang yung plug ko, Cathy. Yun lang.
Okay. Thank you, Itos. At talagang marami tayong natutunan ngayong gabing ito. At ang kalayaan, ika nga, talagang kinakailangang isipin natin kung tayo ba ay tunay na malaya. At ano ba talaga ang kahulugan nito? Marami tayong, kung ako po sa inyo, sa lahat po ng ating mga masugid na taga-subaybay, mga kasama natin sa Zoom, please like and share ang ating pong mga videos, yung pong ating katipunan, nang sa gayon ay marami po tayong maagbot ng mga kababayan natin na maunawaan po nila kung ano po ang nagaganap at bakit po ganito ang kalagayan ng buong mundo, no? At anyway, sa ngalan po ng ating katipon dito sa ating katipunan at sa magagaling na staff ng DZXL Radio Mo Nationwide, kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan ninyo kami ngayon ng Hora de Peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo. Dito pa rin sa ating palatuntunan ang ating katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli mga katipon, alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Inyong napakinggan si Itos Valdes kasama si Cathy Cruz at iba pang katipon na nakilahok sa talakayan.
Ating Katipunan.
Samahang muli si Itos Valdes sa susunod na linggo alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi sa himpilan ng RMN DZXL 558 kHz AM band at social media accounts ng Partido KDP.
Ating Katipunan.